Let's talk about flowcharts, because what is a flowchart? A flowchart is a way to design logic in a program. And what I mean by that is we have to put certain things in order or they're not going to run properly. If you think about real life, if you want to set up your alarm clock to go off the next day or to sound the alarm, then it's very important that you go in, you turn on the alarm clock, you set the time, and you get it ready to go off the next morning. Otherwise, the next morning when you wake up, the alarm clock will not go off. So that's what I'm talking about. When we do a flow chart, it helps us to design what's happening first, what's going to happen next, and what do we do if we need to repeat steps. With a flow chart, basically we use symbols. So with an oval shape here, we have the start or the stop of the program. With the square rectangle, I say square, with the rectangle, it's not a square, it's a rectangle. With the rectangle, this is a process. So in a process, we could maybe do some math, but basically we're making some commands happen within a process. We also have the diamond shape, which is a decision. So in a decision, we may want to do a comparison. Are you ready to continue? Yes or no? That's some type of comparison. Turn the alarm clock on or turn the alarm clock off. Is the alarm clock on or is it off? That's a comparison. That's a decision. Input and output has like a leaning sideways rectangle, and that rectangle means we're either asking the user to answer a question, to type in input, or we want to print output to the screen. This doesn't mean that we're printing to a printer. It's a little bit more complicated than that. When you get into printers, they have specific drivers depending on which printer you're printing to, so on and so forth. So with the output here, we are simply printing something to the screen so that the user can see it and then ask a question. There are certainly more symbols in a flowchart than this, but these are the basic ones that I want to start with. So how do you do a flowchart, and where do you get the software to do the flowchart? Well, you could Google it. You could come up with, different flowcharts that you can use. Lucidchart.com has a free version of a flowchart that you can choose if you're interested in doing that. There is Microsoft Word, which can be a little bit cumbersome, but with practice, you can get pretty good at doing flowcharts in Word. My favorite thing to use ever is a Raptor flowchart. You can download the Raptor flowchart for absolutely free, and it's at raptor.martincarlisle.com. And not only is this program free, but there are YouTubes that explain how to use it, and there are written documents on the site that also show you how to use it. Not only does it put together a flowchart, but you could actually run the program to make sure that you're building the logic in the proper order that the program is actually going to run. Because here's the issue. If you start coding, if you just go straight to coding, which I see programmers are all the time excited about just going straight to coding because they just want to get to coding. But you have to learn how to put the code together first. If you don't, and if you're not patient with that, sure, maybe some small programs will run for you, but when you get to 12,000 lines of code, you're really going to have a ton of issues because you can't look at the code and determine if it's in the proper order. So let's look at doing an assignment. We want to build a flowchart for how users could enter their time worked for the day. We want to have a start time, a break to and from, and the end time that they worked. And the program is going to need to track their hours worked for the day and the week as well. There are a lot of different ways that you could do this, but I'm going to show you one way in Raptor. So this is how the program Raptor looks whenever you open this program up. You can see that there are symbols over here on the left side that you can drag and drop onto your canvas here in order to put your flowchart together. But the beauty of this software is you can actually click this run button and run the program and make sure it's running properly. And if you have an issue and you're not sure where the issue is, you have this little run button right here, and this run button here will take one step at a time in order for you to click a button and then look at it and see if it's doing what it's supposed to do. And if you make a mistake, it's really easy to go in and fix it or make a change or try to figure out what is going on. So for this assignment, we want to build a flowchart for users if they could enter their time worked for the day with a start, break, to, and from end times. It needs to track hours worked for the day and for the week. So if we're going to do it for the week, that means we may need to ask each day what hours the user worked. So I'm going to really start off with dragging this loop over right here because we need to loop through it each day. And it's going to ask you to save your work, so I'm going to do that now. So here is my loop. And let's look back at the instructions here. We need to enter the time worked for a day with the start, break, and end times. So let's just ask the user, what day is it today? I'm going to grab this input and drag it over inside the loop. And I'm just going to double click on it, and I'm going to use quotes because anytime you want anything to print to a screen, you got to put it in quotes. Okay, what day is it? So there's my quotes, and I'm just going to enter a variable day so that I know what day it is, and then click done. And then the next thing I'm going to ask them, if we look again at our assignment, we've got to enter their time to and from their end times. So let me ask them, what time did they start their workday? Again, we have to ask in quotes. I did not see anywhere in Raptor where they have a room for a time variable. So we're just going to do this in 24-hour or military time so that the addition and the subtraction is correct. So what time did you start your workday? I'm going to call that a start. I think next thing I need to do when we look at this is we've got to enter their break times too. So I'm going to ask the user, are you planning on taking a break today? And in the variable, I'm just going to call that break. Now I'm going to ask the user, are you planning on taking a break today? So then I need to make a decision. Did the user put in the word yes, or did the user put in the word no? So I'm going to double click on the decision to bring up the loop condition. And we're working with the variable break. So break could equal, and remember, you got to put it in quotes because it's a string value, it's words, it's not a number. So we need to say if break equals yes, we're going to do one thing. If break equals no, we're going to do something else. And I realized that I just entered this into the loop decision on whether or not we want to reloop. And I really don't want to do that because I want to ask them later on some other things. When you make mistakes like this, it's okay to make changes. So what I want to do here is grab this selection and drag it down. And here in this decision, I want to ask them if break is equal to yes. Now, if the user does want to take a break, again, we've got to record the to and from times. So I'm going to use an input and I'm going to drag it over here on the yes side if they're going to take a break. Because it's the same thought of, did you take a break, yes or no? And then maybe I want to know how long the break was if the answer is yes. But if the answer is no, I don't need to know how long that break was because they didn't take one, correct? So I'm going to double click in here and I'm going to say, what time did you take a break? And I'm going to call that variable break start. You want to make sure that your variables are related to what you're using them for, so you can glance at them and know. When you have 12,000 lines of code and 1,200 variables, it's really difficult. So you've got to make sure that you try to get them to where they are. If you look at them, oh, I know what this one is for. Break start. Then I need to ask the user what time did they end the break because I have to have the times. I'm going to double click and ask what time did you end your break? And I'm going to call that break end. And there's a couple of ways that I could do the next part. I could just ask them how long was your break and get the length. I could do some math in order to get it. In this case, because I'm just using like standard numbers instead of actual time numbers, then, I may just ask the user what was the length of your break. How long was your break? And I'm just going to call that break length. Now, if the user did not take a break, I may print out, you did not take a break today. Double click. Make sure you use your quotes. Okay. So the next thing I need to ask them, something that might be missing, is what time did they end their day? So I'm going to grab another input and drag it down up here and ask them, what time did you end your day? And I'm just going to call that one end. Put capital there. And done. Now, I may need to do a little bit of math to figure out how many hours they worked that day. So I'm going to grab this assignment symbol and drag it down and double click it. And I'm going to set a new variable called hours worked. To end minus start minus break length. So I'm taking the break out for the hours that they worked that day. Now I'm probably going to want to print out how many hours they worked that day. So I'm going to drag the output, double click. The hours you worked today are. And if I want to also print the value that is in that variable, I want to do like this example here and do a plus and then the name of that variable. So I'm going to hit plus and I'm going to do hours worked. And then click done. Okay. Now here, I really want to just ask the user if they want to continue. I got their start time, I got their break times, I got their end time, and now I need to say, do you want to continue? Because we may have to enter our hours for Tuesday. So I'm just going to drag the input down. I'm going to ask the user if they would like to keep going, yes or no. The only thing about Raptor is these yes and no's are kind of backwards, so I'm just going to say, do you want to stop entering? Yes or no. And then I'm going to call that keep going. And then when I get to this part of the loop, I'm going to say keep going equal yes. So if they're ready to stop, it'll go down this yes side. And then I can click an output. I can say hours worked is and then remember you've got to put the plus before the variable. Then I'm going to do an assignment because I also want to set total hours worked, or I can just call it total hours. I'll just call it total hours so I don't have to type so much. And total hours is going to equal total hours plus hours worked. And there's going to be a problem with this. You're going to see it here in just a minute. Then the next thing that I want to print is what those total hours are. So I'm going to grab the output and double click, and again in quotes, okay. So now what we can do is we can go back, we can double check, enter their time for the day. They did that with the start. Okay, break times, taking a break, yes. Time that they took the break, how long the break. Track their hours worked for the day and the week. So we have the hours worked, and then total hours will be what we use to put each day that the hours are worked, we're going to add into the total hours so that by the time we get to the end of the week, we can get a amount done. Okay. So first things first, I put this over the yes side. So what's going to happen when we go no? You can see that it's not really going to save or add up day after day. So that's definitely going to be an issue. Now, because I made this mistake, how do I fix it? Well, let me just click and drag. Very easy. Click and drag. Okay. And this, I actually want this one on both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag another output and just do the same thing. Total hours. And this should be worked, not works. Double click this one. Okay, now there's still going to be another little issue. If you're looking at this, maybe you see what the issue is, maybe you don't. Okay, I could tell you what the issue is, but maybe let's run it and see if we can figure it out. So I'm going to click the play button. And you can see that it highlights in green when it gets to that part in the flowchart. So what day is it? Well, today is Monday. What time did I start? We'll start at 8 a.m. Are you planning on taking a break today? I'll say yes. Now we notice that it did follow the yes side of the flowchart. That is something that you want to look for when you're running it to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. What time did you take a break? I'm going to say at 11. We're going to do this in 24-hour time since we don't have a time variable. So 11, and then what time did you end your break? At 12. How long was your break? It was 1 for 1 hour. Next, it comes down here. What time did you end your day? I ended it at 5. But remember, we've got to do this in 24-hour time or the simple math that I use in here isn't going to be correct. So I'm going to put in 17. Now you can also see over here in this watch window, you've got break is a variable and the value in that variable is yes. The value in the break end is 12. The value in the break length is 1. The value in the break start is 11. The day is Monday. The end time was 1700 hours. So the hours that we worked today was 8 hours. And we started at 8 a.m. So do you want to stop entering time, yes or no? I'm going to say no. I don't want to stop. So keep going is now added yes. But look what we have here. Variable total hours not found. So why do you think that the total hours variable would be not found? I mean, we have it right here. We have total hours worked equal total hours plus hours worked. So what on earth could be the problem? Well, you cannot use a variable unless it has a value in it. You know, sometimes you could have the user put in a value, but the way that we have it here, we didn't assign a specific value to total hours because we're using total hours again plus hours worked. You know, if we just said hours or total hours equal hours worked, then, you know, that would work because that would work as an assignment to say we have set the variable to this value. But since we're using total hours within our math here, then there's no value yet in total hours. You can see total hours is not listed here. There's no value yet. So it's going to freak out and it's going to be like, I don't know what to do because there's nothing here. Okay. So can we do to fix that? Well, we can do an assignment. Let's go to the very top here, and we don't want to put it within the loop. Why? Because if we put it in the loop and we set total hours equal to 0, then it's going to keep resetting it to 0 because it'll be within the loop, right? So I'm going to set it outside the loop. I'm going to double click it and I'm going to set total hours to 0. Now let's run it. You can see now there is a value in the total hours variable. So what day is it? Monday. 8. Are you planning on taking a break day? Yes, yes. What time did you take a break? At 11. What time did you end your break? At 12. How long was your break? It was 1 hour. What time did you end your day? Well, it was at 5 o'clock, but in 24-hour time, that is 17. Just add 12 to 5, add 12 to whatever number, and then you've got your 24-hour time. So 12 and 5 is 17. Do you want to stop entering time, yes or no? I'm going to say no. And it did the correct thing. It went down the no side. Now it's going to ask me again, now what day is it? If we look at the output so far, we've got the hours you worked today are 8. So hours worked is 8. So total hours worked is also 8. So now what day is it? It's Tuesday. You know, and you can do an output to print out the day of the week too. That's okay. What time did you start your workday? Well, the same as yesterday, 8 o'clock. Are you planning to take a break today? Yes, I am. What time did you take a break? 11. What time did you end your break? 12. How long was your break? It was 1 hour. What time did you end your day? 17. Do you want to stop entering time? Yes or no? Well, I'm going to say yes, just because I want to see if it's adding only Monday and Tuesday. So total hours should be 16 when it prints that out. But did we make a mistake? So it says total hours worked was only 8. So what mistake do you suppose we made here? You're absolutely right. We have to add the total hours plus the hours worked, but we did that. So why didn't it catch that? It only said 8. Oh, because why? What if we clear this out and we stop this programming? I'll clear this again. And we use this little step play button. Granted, you have to push it every single time, but you can actually follow exactly what the program is doing. And this looks absolutely correct. So maybe I stopped it too short. All right, let's do this again. What day is it? Monday. What time did you start? So we have a day Monday, total hours 0. Click the step again. What time did you start? At 8. Okay. Are you taking a break? Yes. Okay. Got to click that step every single time. So it does go a little slower than if you're just using the run button. So hours worked equals end. There's hours worked. Do we want to keep going? Well, yeah, we want to keep going. So I'm going to say, no, I don't want to stop. Click OK. Keep going equals no. So it prints the hours worked again. Here we go. So hours you worked today are 8. Then it's going to say total hours equal total hours plus work. So let me hit that. So total hours is 8. Okay. So let's do this again. Now what day is it? It's Tuesday. Eight. Yes. What time did you start your break? 11. We're going to do it the exact same as yesterday so we can make sure that we know what it's doing. We ended it at 12. How long was your break? It was 1 hour. What time did you end your day? 17. So, hours worked, okay, and then do you want to stop entering time? Here's the thing, if I say yes, it has not added these together for the second time around, correct? So, total hours worked are 8 instead of it doing this again. So what do we need to do? We need to grab this. We can copy it and paste it. We could add that in there again so that it adds the total hours worked again. And now let's run it and see if it goes. Day is it? Monday. What time did you start? 8. Yes, I'm taking a break at 11 to 12 for 1 hour. We ended the day at 1700 hours. Do you want to stop? No. What day is it? Tuesday. What time did you start your work day? At 8. Yes, I'm planning on taking a break. What time did I take my break? At 11 to 12, which was 1 hour. What time did you end your day? At 1700. Do you want to stop entering time? Yes. Now you can see this time that the total hours worked is 16 because it added both the days together. So this is why I love to use Raptor, because I can make mistakes while I'm trying to put my flowchart together, and I don't want to just necessarily rely on my eyeballs in order to figure out if I've done this correctly or if I haven't done this correctly, right? This program will run and you'll see exactly what it is that it's going to do, and boom. When you want to print this to Word document, all you have to do is click File, Print to Clipboard, and it'll tell you that you need to open Microsoft Word and paste it. And that's what I'm going to do. Here's Microsoft Word. I just right click and paste the picture, and boom, there it is. So you've got your flowchart in your Word document that you can easily save and submit. Crazy cool. Love how this program works. It's always going to check you and make sure that your logic is absolutely on target. And then if you need to turn this in for a homework assignment, you can click File, once again, File, Print to Clipboard, and then you can open up Microsoft Word and right click and paste. Now, if you wanted to put little notes in here so that your instructor has a clue which assignment it is, you can right click the start and choose comment, and you could say assignment 1, week 1, or whatever the name of that assignment is, and click done. You could go in there and list what your variables are going to be, and when you go print to clipboard and paste it to Word, you can see that that comment shows up right there. And your instructor can, look at this. They can stretch it out. You can fit it all on one page. It doesn't matter. The instructor will be able to zoom in and look at what you've got going on with your flowchart. That's the cool part of Word, is you can zoom in and check it out. All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope this really helps with creating flowcharts. It does take practice, and you got this. Have a great day.